This is a mushroom in Minecraft. If you have seen the title, you might be wondering, how can it possibly break your world? Yet, the mushroom can. This is the story of how a mushroom broke Minecraft. So, what has exactly happened? Let's go back to where I started. Last night, I was doing some experiments on mushrooms in the end, and I'm just seeing if they can grow faster in the end. And I placed a single mushroom in the end, and which turned out to be a crucial mistake. Then I set the tick rate to 10,000 and AFK for the entire night. The next morning, disaster struck. I was shocked when I see the end, filled with mushrooms and endermans everywhere. But why? What caused this? To explain that, we have to see how mushroom grows in Minecraft. In Minecraft, when a mushroom is at a place under light level of 13, which have an at least one adjacent block, food block with air on it, it has a very low chance to spread onto that block. However, to prevent the mushroom from spreading all over the world, the developers added an additional rule to the mushroom growing, which is one in the 9 by 9 by 3 area around the mushroom have at most 5 mushroom, and once it reaches the 5 limit, the spreading process will be forced to stop. In the end, light level is exactly under 13 with no day cycles, and which makes it the perfect place to grow mushrooms. But the spreading process have a limit, right? The mushroom will not spread forever, right? Well, that's true, but not exactly. Don't forget that there's another important factor in the end, the Endermans. You see, Endermans can pick up blocks, and coincidentally, mushrooms is one of them. If an Enderman picks up a mushroom and places it somewhere else outside the range where no more mushrooms can spawn, it can actually grow by the grow limit of 5. But if only the mushroom have spread, it will just be annoying to clean. There will not be so many Endermans, right? So what has exactly happened to have so many Endermans in the end as well? Well, that's a completely different story, but related as well. In Minecraft, the mob cap is 70, which basically means that in the loaded chunks of one single player, there's at most 70 hostile creatures to be spawned. If it reached the cap, it will not spawn any more mobs. And which basically means that there are at most 70 Endermans at a time on the main island. However, if you kill an Enderman, the game will add another to it to reach the mob cap. However, when an Enderman picks up a block, it will also not be counted as a hostile creature. It will be just removed from the mob cap, and the game will try to spawn a new one, which extend the how many enemies that can be on the island by one. Because mushrooms can spread and the enemies exactly like to pick up blocks, this will cause a chain process and make the enemy spread along. But how exactly? Well, as you see, spawning new mobs is almost instant to the game, but the enemies tend to hold a block for a long time, definitely longer than a game takes to spawn a new one, which makes the mob count go crazily high and exceptionally harder to clear and recover the damage, since it will just be a complete nightmare to try and clear hundreds of enemies that place blocks everywhere. Well, in my case, I got around 960 Endermans on my end island, around 14 times the normal cap of 70, and which got my frames down to 60 FPS, which is half of the normal rates I got. And in servers, this can be way more destructive and dangerous. For one player, the mob cap is just 70, but for two players, it's effectively doubled to 140, which can result in crazy high numbers of enemies, which just makes the game totally unplayable or just crash the server. So if you have a server around, and please make sure that there is absolutely no mushrooms or any other stuff that can cause the server to crash. And well, if you don't, and there is unfortunately a mushroom in the end, anything bad could happen. Well, if you like this kind of content, please hit the subscribe button and leave a like. And well, if you have a server, good luck. Don't have mushroom in your end. And see you next time. Bye.